Morning, afternoon, evening, whatever fucking time it is for you. Hello, welcome to Fatso Begins on Fieros Reborn, which is I with the Fieros blue logo, as you can see. Oh, fucking camera. Right, hello. Welcome to Fieros' story time. I'm absolutely knackered. Woo! Yeah. I said it was Fieros' story time though, didn't I? Didn't I? Hello. Well, I forgot that. So on this T-shirt, I don't have my actual Fieros Industries written on it because this was one of the first ones I did, which I hadn't got around to putting my name thing on it. But I think it looks pretty cool today. I haven't actually seen it on the camera looking this good. I don't know why it looks better today for some reason. Anyway, welcome to Psych Ward Begins. Psych Ward by Ross Alistair Wilson, the famous friend of mine who happens to also be me. But I just give myself different names because I can't decide on my own identity. That is me from a long time ago. I don't know, a couple of years ago when I was slightly slimmer. Oh, fucking hell, I can't be asked. Anyway, this is the culmination of 2 years of work. I think it looks amazing, honestly. I don't actually know if that's going to be the final cover, though, because it does look amazing, but I don't know if it looks right, if that makes sense. It looks great, but I don't know if it looks right. So, but anyway, it's a pretty cool cover. So, you know, books change their covers, don't they? They have different covers over time. So this will be the first cover. I think it looks amazing. Because I did it myself. Otherwise, I would think it was shit. And so there are 436 pages in this book. Most of them actually have writing on as well, which is fortunate considering it is a book. So I'll read the blurb on the back. It says, Psych Ward is a tale of woe, excitement, imprisonment, and escaping things. In this marvellous book, if I do say so myself, in this marvellous book, the author, who cannot decide what his name is, recounts a colourful and snazzy retelling of various bits of his fruity past, some of which occurs within the confines of a psychiatric ward or two. You never know. Read it yourself, you bunch of bastards. Why should I write a blurb giving it all away, eh? So it's about the title, psychiatric ward. However, it's not just about that. It's about life, being human, going through trauma, healing from trauma, expressing yourself, nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense that goes on in this book, for better or worse. And there's this kind of set of subplot stories with characters that I create along the way to help me deal with the feelings and the trauma involved with all the things that happen to me. So I create these kind of imaginary characters and they have discussions and they go through a journey that mimics or resonates with the emotions of the whole experience in some way or other. So I am going to possibly read some of it because it is quite a good book, if I do say so myself. But I don't know, because if I read it all out to you, then you won't have to read the book, if that makes sense. So then you've just got it for free, haven't you? So I'd rather you read it, really. But then I do want to read some of it. Do I, though? Do I really? Do I want to read it? Because I spent the whole fucking life writing it. So I don't know if I want to read it or not, actually. I might just sort of not read it. Yeah, let's put that down then. Tease! I'm a tease, aren't I? Oh. But it's not actually I don't think it's available for sale just yet because there are some formatting and spelling issues still, but the bulk of it is done now. I was having some trouble with getting it to a point where I could even put it all together into one because there are 4 different parts that were written. So I'll just show you because some of the time I write the date on it as well. So the first entry is the 26th of October 2016, and then the last entry that has a date on it is come on now. So 2016 to 2nd of August 2018.73. Yeah. So it's written by how many different people? Me, Ross, Fieros Wilson, who is now dead, but he is being reborn. Then you got Fieros Wilson again, and then Fieros Reborn. So I even wrote some of this book myself, my Fieros Reborniness. Then we have Aquos, the water-dwelling beast, who wrote the last penultimate entry. And then we have the author, Ross Alastair Wilson. So I think that actually Ross Alastair Wilson was possibly pretending to be these other different characters. I'm not sure if that's the right way to put it. Pretending sounds a bit like he's being devious. I think it's more of just a different... He writes in different styles, and it's worth putting a different name to those styles. Maybe. I don't know. Or he has different sub-personalities. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, anyway, so Fieros Reborn wrote Psych Ward 3, Potato Peeling from on High. So I can read a bit of that because that's on my channel. So stupid having all different sub-personalities. So this is Psych Ward 3, Potato Peeling from on High by Fieros Reborn. Contents. Beginning. More words on more pages. Continuity errors. And end. Oh, I don't know if I can be bothered. I don't know if I can be fucking bothered because it doesn't really work as an audio book or a video. It's a book. It's about being a book. It's not about being spoken. Well, whatever. Psych Ward 3, Potato Peeling from on High. Task! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, colon. Fill this pucker refill pad with 400 pages. No, not 400. It's probably got less than that now. Start again. Task! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, colon, colon. What's with all the punctuation? Leave me alone or I'll punctuate you. Start again. Fine. Task! Colon. Fill this refill pad with Psych Ward 3 material, edit it only a tiny amount, then self-publish on www.lulu.com. Full stop. Also, type it up somehow before publishing it, and double also, proofread it involving some kind of small chimpanzee. Marvellous. Let's go. Thursday the 2nd of May 2018. Around 10 years or so ago today, around 10 years ago or so today, in 2008, keep up, I was incarcerated in Ward 10, the psychiatric ward of Wexham Park Hospital in Slough, Berkshire, England. Do you want the postcode? No. Good. So I guess Psych Ward 3, Potato Peeling from on High, marks the 10-year anniversary of me being in a psych ward, doesn't it? 10 years, eh? 10 years. As far as I'm aware, most of my psyche has been liberated from its confines within the 2 psychiatric wards I was forced to be contained within, but we shall see. Perhaps there are some dregs of non-liberatedness still kicking around in my emotional memory bank. We shall see. Hi, my name is Fieros, Fieros Reborn. I kind of died a bit after Psych Ward 2. I was actually some kind of writing beast/machine, fueled by nicotine, cigarettes, tobacco, women, fast cars, coffee, drugs, and eggnog. I was pooped. I actually already wrote Psych Wards 3 to 10, but then I had a particularly painful breakup with my girlfriend at the time and destroyed everything that wasn't already typed up. I had written a lot about her in the books, refill pads, and I didn't want to invade her privacy by publishing them. I did what I did, and I am actually glad I did it. A lot of what I had written was twonkswobble. So, dearest reader, here we are with a fresh refill pad for me, a fresh little book for you, and a lot of pages to go through one way or another. Be prepared to be looking at a lot of words on pages for the duration. Hello again. Let me introduce myself properly now. My name is Fieros Reborn. I am 32 years old. That's what it says here. I'm not actually 32 anymore. Time and life has moved on. I'm 33. Anyway, that's as much as you're getting at the moment. Oh, and I am a male, but we won't go into that. So yeah, I was fucking cuntily knackered after I wrote Psych Wards 1 to 10 and then destroyed Psych Wards 3 to 10. So all I had left was Psych Wards 1 and 2. Fucking cuntily knackered, I tell you. I was wrecked, kablamoed, stuffed up the jumper, cream cheesed, slazzinged, right walloped I was. I also tried to reignite the Psych Ward spark many times before now, but I was just all out of spunk. I'm not exactly fully recovered as of yet either, but what the hell, I don't have anything else to do at the moment. I would honestly like to get on with some Psych Ward storytelling in this book, but, well, we may have a similar problem to last time in that it takes considerable emotional effort and energy to write coherently about that time in my life. Still, I will give it my best shot. As long as I am vaguely on topic throughout the book, I'll be happy. Right! I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink caffeinated coffee anymore. I have new thick double glazing on my room windows. I have a new softly closing front door. All the above factors contribute to my nerves being slightly less jumpy and jittery than they were when I wrote Psych Wards 1 and 2. I'll tell you what though, quitting smoking was the most painful thing I've ever done. But smoking itself was starting to become the most painful thing I was doing, so I decided to stop. Against the addiction's wishes, I might add. Coffee was fairly easy to quit. I just switched to decaf and didn't notice much of a difference. I notice it now, though. I had a regular coffee the other day by accident. Good thing there were no banana skins lying on the floor, too. And I really noticed the caffeine. I've realised that life is stimulating enough without ingesting stimulants. However, life is not always depressing enough, hence alcohol. So, what do you want to know this time, Psych Ward 3 attendees? Friday the 3rd of May 2018. I am still alive and life continues to go on. I suppose I thought I would most likely be dead from suicide by the age of 32. But I am alive and life continues all around and inside me. How do I know I'm alive at the moment? Because I need a poo. My bowels tell me I am alive. I poo, therefore I am. Back in a minute. That's better. Okay, so let's get started. I was first sectioned on a Section 2, which is a 28-day legal injunction to detain a person in a psychiatric facility for assessment and monitoring with a view to ascertaining a treatment plan. Later, my sectioning was upgraded to a Section 3, which basically allows for a rolling detention in chunks of 6 months at a time without a legal requirement for the terms to be reviewed during that time. These facts may be facts. They may not be facts. They may have been facts that are no longer facts. They feel roughly right as I remember it, but they also feel slightly unfacty. So look it up if you want to know the legal ins and outs of a sectioning under the Mental Health Act. The beast is awake again. We possibly shouldn't have disturbed it. It seems slightly less fearsome in this book. Maybe it is less scaly and is starting to grow some fur. Jim, are you there? Meh. As far as I'm aware, that meh means that Jim has become jaded with his own non-violent belief system. I think he thought it would lead him to some kind of blaze of glory, with people following his every word, and Neanderthals everywhere, laying down their clubs and drinking Pims instead. I wouldn't mind taking a trip to the ether at some point. We'll see what happens. Alright, so just because I've just got to that point, it's obvious that I shouldn't carry on because it doesn't make any sense if you don't know what happens earlier on. Who's this character? Jim, for example? Why is he going meh? What's all this non-violent Neanderthalness going on about? You know, so so I'm not going to carry on. But there you go. There's a small taste of Psych Ward. The book, Psych Ward, the book. Yeah, so I still don't smoke. I definitely don't smoke. In fact, I said this the other day on a video. I thought I'd celebrate by buying some tobacco, and I thought, I know, my mum's away for 3 days, or 2 days, or 3 days, or something. I'm gonna restart smoking, get through a bag of tobacco, and by the time she comes back, I'll have finished it. I will have celebrated because why was I celebrating? I think it was because I'd finally sent this off to be printed, and I was like, yeah. So I was celebrate. Let's kill myself a small amount at a time. Chronic suicide is what I read. Chronic meaning long term. It's a long term suicidal thing, isn't it? Maybe I should like put this. Maybe I should just rest it here like that. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay, wicked. Yeah, I was just gonna leave that there. So so I had I bought a packet of tobacco and all the materials and stuff, apart from filters, because I thought filters were going to come in the packet because it did say 3 in 1. But what did I get? I got tobacco and Rizzlers. That's not 3 in 1. That's 2 in 1. Blech. So no filters. So anyway, I rolled up a cigarette, thinking, yeah, you know, because as I said in the last video, I did used to miss being a smoker. I used to miss all the paraphernalia. I used to being in the social aspect of it, blah, 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 blah. You know, I used to kind of have part of my identity was around being a smoker. You know, it's just like being part of the group. It is a group, it's a clan, it's a club, it's a kind of social, it's a social identity, it's a social group. So, so I missed that, and I thought, I know, I'll go back to being a smoker just briefly. I won't do it for long enough to get addicted, so it'll be fine, whatever. And just, it was the worst £16. It's fucking expensive. I don't know how anyone fucking justifies it to themselves. It's fucking expensive. Like, oh god, to get a whole set of stuff to start it off, like lighter, Rizzlers, and tobacco, didn't even get filters, was £16. And that was the cheapest packet that I could, well, okay, not exactly cheapest, but like next to cheapest packet that they had on available, because they only do everything in 30-gram packets now, don't they? So I think the whole thing of deterring younger people from starting is probably working, because I couldn't be asked. If I was 15 or whatever, I'm not going to be asked to spend 15, 16 quid on starting smoking. I'd be like, oh, can't be asked. Too expensive. Anyway, but I thought I'd try it out again, because not because of the actual smoking aspect, and I definitely don't like the health aspects of it at all, but because I wanted to just feel like I was back to my old self. Back to my old self, you see, because it was all about being myself. And I felt like the smoking thing became part of myself. And I had all these like good memories of being a smoker, hanging out with people, various girls who I've been with have been smokers as well. So, you know, I missed just that feeling of being in that group, being a smoker, feeling like I'm part of this collection of people. And I rolled up a cigarette, and as soon as I started smoking it, I liked the whole rolling aspect. I felt like a smoker again, you know, I was excited about it, kind of thing. I was having a bit of internal dialogue with myself, like, oh, I shouldn't really be doing this, you know, this might not work, this is silly, but this is a genuine impulse from inside me that I want to reconnect with that time in my life where I was a smoker. And so as soon as I started smoking it, I began to feel just horrible. I didn't like the feeling in the back of my throat. It actually felt painful. You know, that nicotine feeling in the back of the throat. I just felt yuck. I felt kind of sick. I didn't want to carry on smoking it. I didn't even finish the whole cigarette, honestly. And each time I breathed it in, I just felt this. I felt horrible. I just felt it. It was painful to my neck. It made me feel nauseous. I coughed a bit. I just felt dirty. The taste in my mouth was dirty. You know, it made my whole aura feel dirty. I felt depressed afterwards as well. And I sat there on the bench after having I got about 3/4 of the way down. I didn't go all the way down. I was thinking, no, come on, you know, you can do this. You wanted to do this, you can do this. You can just smoke one. You can smoke the whole thing. Just smoke one. Come on, you can do this. And I was like, I can't though because it tastes horrible. And also, I was doing it mindfully as well because I think that so the reason why I got addicted to smoking in the first place, I think, is because I was drunk when I first started smoking a lot. Which, when you're drunk, your senses aren't fully engaged. You're a little bit blurry. You know, you're desensitized. Your pain threshold is down, or higher, whatever. I mean, like, you're a little bit numbified because the alcohol is a painkilling effect, doesn't it? Has a painkilling effect. Sorry. And let's put this down. And no, I want it back now. It's like a baby. Yeah. So I was drunk when I started smoking. Therefore, my correct, logical, rational awareness, conscious brain was not really in the zone about those decisions I was making because I was inebriated to some degree. So the addiction got in me from the smoking without me consciously thinking about it, without me being aware of the sensations of smoking fully. And so when I started again, or tried to start again, like just the other day, as a celebration thing, when I tried to restart, I was doing it mindfully, as in, like, you know, I've been practicing mindfulness or being mindful or spiritual awareness, consciousness for a long, long time now. And so I'm very firmly established in being aware of my sensations as I go along throughout a day in all activities. Whereas I wasn't firmly established in that when I started smoking because I was drunk, and also I wasn't really in my spiritual mindfulness consciousness zone when I first started smoking there. I had been through spiritual zones before where I had been mindful and I had been conscious and stuff, but that was one of the times when I wasn't. So I wasn't paying attention basically to what my body was saying when I started smoking. So when I did it this most recent time mindfully and paid attention to all the sensations that were happening in my body as this was happening, you know, okay, so the first thing about it actually was paying attention to the price of it. I hadn't ever really felt that it was so expensive when I was a smoker, because when you're addicted to something and you need it, you can kind of bypass the sense that it's expensive. You know it's expensive and you know that it's a waste of money, but you have to bypass that and overrule it because you're addicted and because you need the thing. Because if you don't get it, you start feeling withdrawal and pain and irritation and anger and stress and everything, and your blood pressure changes and everything. So what am I saying? So the first sensation was, well, fucking hell, this is expensive. The next sensation was I actually took the tobacco out of the packet and held it in my hand, right? Because I know there's demons in this fucking thing. And I thought, all right, I'll try and do some cleansing on it. And I did some cleansing on it, and it still didn't improve the fucking thing. But I did change the energy of it to be a better energy in the tobacco before I decided to smoke it, because I thought, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to try and do it as healthfully as possible, if there's any such thing as being healthful with smoking. But I thought, right, let's do this the whole hog, let's do this as some kind of spiritual thing, put some energy into this, cleanse the energy if you can, pray inside it, whatever, bless the thing, so I did that. And So I guess the other sensation was me walking. I actually held it in my hand walking down the street. People don't see anything, you know. People aren't fucking looking at anything these days. Everyone's got their headphones in and they're just like in their own little world. So me walking down the road holding a piece of tobacco, like a slab of tobacco furriness in my hand, no one fucking noticed. It's actually ridiculous the things you can do in like wide open in the public because no one is looking. No one's. I could be walking down the road with my fucking dick hanging out, and no one would notice until you get to the bank, and then people go, "Oh, yeah." But you know, no one would notice. They'd think it. They'd probably think it's some kind of like a trick or something, or that they didn't see it and they're back to focusing on their own thing. So anyway, yeah, I was carrying this there, sat down. And I could kind of feel the energy of nastiness in the actual stuff itself. And I think it's a shame that our tobacco in the Western world is so heavily processed and chemicalized. It's got so many chemical additives in it. Some of them to help it keep burning, some of them are fragrances, some of them are preservatives, all that sort of stuff. So it's really nasty what's in there. And a lot of those chemicals are supposedly carcinogenic, which I probably think that's right, but obviously I don't know for certain. But yeah, why not? They're all carcinogenic in there. So it's a shame because I think that the natural tobaccos, where tobaccos are like really actually grown, before they get processed and shipped and additives added into them and all that stuff, I think that probably the pure tobacco leaves are, I would just imagine that they're going to be less carcinogenic because they don't have all this nasty shit added to it to make it more palatable or more addictive or to last longer or whatever, or to be the right colour and stuff, and to be the right smell, and the right taste. So yeah, it's a shame because I think they're probably genuine, authentic leaf tobacco that hasn't been processed. If you find it in wherever it grows, I don't know actually much about it, but I think that would be less carcinogenic. So we have to get the shitty stuff. And I feel like even the Natural American Spirit brand, I don't know, something about that's weird as well. So dry. I don't think that's not good either. Anyway, so I had this feeling of yuck while I was holding it, and then so I actually breathed in some of the prana from it. So the thing with tobacco as well that is it actually has a very high prana content. Prana meaning chi or energy, life energy. It has a high concentration of that in it, which is why you can kind of get high off just sniffing it and smelling it. Or there's something addictive about the smell of it because it has this high concentration of prana or chi or energy in it. So I sniffed it and breathed it in and out and just absorbed the prana of it first before I decided to smoke any of it. Anyway, yeah, then I rolled it up, and as I said, I didn't like it at all. It was horrible. It was disgusting, and I felt bad. I felt regret. I felt guilt to myself. I felt annoyed at myself. I felt gutted that I'd wasted. It was actually my last £16 at the time for like a day or something, so I didn't have any more money after that point. So I was like gutted that I spent my last bit of money before I got any more in on tobacco, and I was gutted that it had been a really bad decision and a wasteful decision, and I just felt crap, and my physical body felt crap. I felt cloudy, depressed, sluggish. I mean, I just sat on that bench afterwards being mindful because I was like, I want to stay with this feeling because I want to really register how this feels, because I was saying in my mind, never again, I'm never doing this ever again. Like, this is the last time, absolutely last time, never again. And I wanted to actually feel those sensations all the way through to the end so that I could really register what that experience was like, to teach myself a lesson, I suppose, to teach my brain, this is what smoking is like. Okay, you weren't paying attention when you first started smoking because you were drunk and, you know, you're focusing on trying to chat up girls all the time, whatever, and to remember your fucking lyrics for the performances of your music, whatever. But now you are fully aware. You have time. You've done this slowly. You've done this with awareness. You've sort of taken every aspect of it in. And what have you learned? It sucks. It really fucking sucks. So I see it as a positive experience overall, because doing all of that makes me I just don't want to go near it ever again. And I'm never going to go near cigarettes themselves, pre-mades, or straights as they're sometimes called. All the lingo, fags, smokes, ciggies, cigar. No, I'm never going to go near actual cigarettes either, because cigarettes are even worse. I hate like, as soon as cigarettes go in me, my eyes feel like they're going to pop out of my head. There's this weird crackly feeling happens in the front of my face. It's horrible. I feel like I'm ingesting raw petrochemicals. So, and I probably am ingesting raw petrochemicals. Yeah, so never gonna have an actual cigarette ever again. Because they're worse. They're much worse than rolling tobacco. Tobacco is bad, but actual cigarettes are even worse for me personally. Yeah, so I was like, oh fuck this, never again. And so, having sat with those feelings until they were like back down to a kind of normal level, not completely back down to normal. I still felt shit, but I was like, I'm not going to sit on this bench all fucking afternoon feeling like shit. So I'm going to have to get up and do something else. And I just left the packet on the bench. I just walked away from it. I'd already pushed it to the side. So I was like, I don't want this anywhere near me, man. And I'd finished the cigarette, like, as I said, had about that much left on it. I was like, fuck this. Chucked it on the floor before it was finished and squished it out in a feeling of disgust. You know. And then put the packet was already down there. Put the Rizzers there and the lighter there. And I don't think I even looked at it before I left. I think I looked at it and I was like, shall I put it in the bin? Or should I leave it for someone else? And I had a debate about whether I should leave it or put it in the bin, because I was thinking, well, all right, if I had found that when I was in the middle of my smoking career, I would have been like, it's a bonanza. And actually, I had found like packets of of tobacco on the floor, and it was an absolute bonanza when you find that. Cause you're like, whoa, yes! I found a 30-gram packet of Amber Leaf one time that had hardly had any taken out of it, and it was still fresh feeling, nice quality, whatever, good quality. I was like, this is a fucking bonanza. So for someone who finds that on the bench, okay, yeah, it's giving them bad karma in terms of it's killing them, but from their perspective, it's what they want. So if I'd found it, I would have been really happy with that. So I think, although it's got the negative of the fact that it's killing someone, it's also it would make them happy. So they can die happy. But no. Oh Jesus. Oh Moses. Oh Ganesh. Hello, love. Yeah, shut up, you. Yeah, so they could die happy if they're smoke poisoning. Oh man. So I just left it, and also there came a point where I was like, I don't fucking care anymore. I'm not even gonna finish this fucking internal conversation. Like, I've chucked it there. I'm just walking away. I don't care anymore. Yeah. So I left it up to the universe to decide. Walked away, and I didn't look back. I actually didn't look back. You know, physically, I didn't even turn my head around. I completely forgot about it, actually. As about 10 meters after I'd walked away, I was like, doo-ba-doo. Although I was still thinking here and there, like, I feel like shit. Man, I wasted my fucking money. Why did I do that? I don't even have any more money. What am I going to do? Like, Luckily, I had some, I think I had some, like some credit on my Costa card or something. I somehow managed to like long out the afternoon instead of just going back home. I went for a turd, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, So I think that's the official end of my smoking career. Honestly, I cannot see. I'm trying to think to myself: are there any other circumstances in which I would start smoking again? I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I think someone offers me it, I'm like, nah. Someone offers me a rollie. If I was drunk, maybe, all right. I concede that. If I was drunk, then maybe I'd go. Ugh. But then I'd have a bit of it, and I go. Ugh. But then again, when you're drunk, you see, you can't taste all the badness of it. That's the whole point, isn't it? So I probably would have someone if I was drunk. But then again, I don't tend to hang around the smoking area when I was drunk, so it's less likely to happen anyway. Because I don't go out for a smoke. I don't feel the need to have a smoke while I'm at a club or a pub, so I just stay inside and dance or talk to people or whatever and drink. So I don't know. I feel like I've been through the what do you call it? Bargaining. It's a bargaining phase from it, withdrawing slowly, because I cut off cold turkey straight off. Right. Well, I didn't do it cold turkey actually. I reduced for a while. I reduced for a few weeks, cutting it down. The way I reduced was a bit silly, but it worked. I switched from crappy, highly chemicalized tobaccos to the natural American spirit. So I did that first. Then I started adding extra filters. Yeah. So so I normally would have one filter in there. I would always have a filter normally. It would be very rare that I'd smoke it with a roach because I felt that was worse for me. Anyway, so I started adding an extra filter, and therefore that was increasing my filterness and decreasing the amount I was smoking. So I did that, right? Then I added 3 filters in, and again, so that decreased the amount I was smoking and increased the amount of filtering that was going on. But that had an adverse effect because the filters themselves, I just basically was breathing in this kind of hot plastic gauze. I don't know what they're exactly made of, but it felt like fiberglass. I was like, all I'm getting is the taste of the filter now. So that made me want to stop. So I stopped. There you go. That was a hard process though to actually get off them in the first place. I mean, my body was going through some serious pain before I came off them because I was keeping myself in this kind of withdrawal state. I found it very hard to actually be a smoker without wanting to quit all the time. So I would always be halfway between being a smoker and quitting, or being a quitter, right? So therefore, I would always leave it longer. I would make it uncomfortable. Basically, I'd really push myself to the last point that I could stand before I had another one. Which meant that my body was constantly on fucking fire. So my body was constantly under stress. And I was doing that. I did that for like a year or something when I was trying to quit, and I was just trying to reduce, but I was just. So I was having about. It was between 5 and maximum 15, but it was more like 5 and 10 a day. And those are a really hard. If I had 5 in a day, that was a really hard day to do that. You know, that really took a lot of energy to actually fucking manage that. And it's weird because I don't know if everyone else experiences it like that, but quitting for me was one of the hardest things, if not the hardest physical thing I have ever done. Ever fucking done. And emotional as well. It was just the hardest thing. I don't know why it was so hard for me particularly. Maybe other people can quit easier, but for me, my body must have been so enmeshed or something, or addicted to the actual physicality of it, that it was just screaming the whole time. and I got really angry. And one of the reasons I quit in the first place was because the smoking was making me angry, because I was keeping myself in this like half on, half off smoking. I was just in hypervigilance. I was angry all the time. I was stressed all the time. I was like a raging fucking bull. Literally, the amount of times my eyes popped out of my head and fucking steam blew out of my ears is ridiculous. And it was getting to the point where I was just causing trouble because I was being an asshole to people around me. And my body was feeling raw and sore. I was knackered. I was depressed. It's horrible. It was horrible. So that's why I quit. And it was really hard to begin with. But after about 6 months, the feelings started to go down of like pain and stuff. And then after about 8-9 months, there was even less. And now I'm just past a year and a month or so, with like a few here and there. But I think I've smoked to maybe 1 or 2 full cigarettes throughout that whole time, and a few like quarters or 3/4 of ones, because I get halfway through or whatever and I go, oh God, I can't do it anymore. I can't get through this. I actually can't force myself because it feels horrible. So yeah, I'm proud of myself in a way, but there's still a part of me that misses it. There's still a part of me that misses being a smoker. And my social life has certainly dwindled since I stopped smoking. Part of the reason for that is I felt I wanted to be away from smokers so that I could really consolidate my lack of smoking. It's harder to quit when you've got it going on all around you all the time. So I decided, right, I'm actually going to have to just not see people for a while. I'm going to have to stay in and not go out so much drinking and partying or whatever, just to stay away from the cigarettes. So I did. And in a way, it's been a good year because I've actually improved my health a lot, even though I'm fat. My physical body feels better overall. I'm much more peaceful inside. I'm not angry. If you've ever seen any of my older videos from my previous channels, I was angry a lot of the time. I would be making a joke out of it and I'd be, bouncing around with it and stuff, but I was angry. I was really angry. Anything could piss me off. Something anyone said would piss me off. Loud noises would piss me off. I mean, they still do piss me off, but I respond differently now. Yeah, so overall, everything's improved slowly from having quit. So, as I was saying, this all came from just reading that one little bit about how my life has improved since I began the book, because at the beginning of the book I was still a smoker, and then I went through that whole thing that I mentioned in there where it says I destroyed Psych wards 3 to 10 because I'd already written them, and I got rid of everything I'd written because I had a heavy amount of stuff in there about the girl who I was with, and I basically just wanted to destroy everything, but it was only kind of by chance in a way that the first 2 survived, because the first one was already uploaded on the internet and it was proving to be quite difficult to actually delete the damn thing. So I think I just gave up. I destroyed the manuscript for it, the paper that I wrote it on. And number 2, you could say luckily, was being typed up during the time that I destroyed everything else. So I'd given that to my dad's office manager, secretary lady, to type up for me. So she had that. So it was saved from the destruction rampage that I went on. I just chucked all of them that I had in the Sainsbury's recycling bin, in the back, the big recycling bins they have for paper and stuff. Just chucked it in there, and I honestly felt better about doing that. I felt kind of glad that I had this burden off my shoulders. However, now I regret it because I miss all the fucking stuff I wrote. I wrote some really, really good stuff in there, it was really strong writing and powerful metaphors and storytelling, I think, anyway. And I was really fucking on the ball on some of those books, especially 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8, and 9 were a bit like, okay. They were getting deeper, but it was, I don't know, it was also heavier. 10 I didn't even finish, but not fully finished anyway. Yeah, but 4, 5, and 6 of those original books. Oh man, there's some really strong stuff in there that I miss, and I feel gutted about still. And I'm rewriting books 5 to 10, and then a couple of extra, 3 extra actually at the end, because having gone through all that destruction, I now actually have more material. Not only have I got the sort of feeling of the stuff that happened in those books that I destroyed, but I've also got other material that has been kind of bubbling to me, or that I know is present inside me that I need to get out. So I'm rewriting them, and I made a commitment to myself to not destroy my work anymore, because there was a period in time where I would just get rid of artwork. I'd rip stuff up. I'd rip up lyrics, writing, everything, because if it wasn't perfect, or if I didn't feel it was right, then I couldn't. It's like I couldn't even tolerate its existence. I couldn't handle it being in my. I couldn't handle it like having it in my space at all. I just had to get rid of it. And the amount of stuff that I have created and destroyed is utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous, because I would do sketches every day for a period of about 3 years, and about 10% of those I kept, even less, maybe 5%. So the amount of stuff that that I had and that is gone is ridiculous. So I made a commitment to myself after this Psych destruction phase that was the last time I was going to destroy my work. I still destroy like little tiny bits here and there, but nothing major. And I made a commitment also to complete work, because one of the reasons I used to rip stuff up was because I didn't feel I could finish it. I didn't have the energy to finish it. Now I complete works and I don't rip them up. I don't throw them away, because I realise that my work has value to me. My work has value to other people, and having gone through so much destruction of my stuff, it shows me the value of what I do, actually, because I miss those things that I do, even though they might be too much to take in all at once. I miss the thing that I created, some of them more than others. So yeah, I mean, also part of that as well is that I feel like I'm actually doing better work now anyway, so I feel like I want to keep hold of stuff. Yeah, and I don't feel the urge to self-destruct anymore. Well, I do, but I don't feel it applies to my work. Anyway, there you go. So this will be available for sale soon, when I have taken some of the errors out and cleaned up some of the formatting issues. Yeah. So there you go. That's that. I'm not going to read it out because it doesn't make any sense to do that. 48 minutes. Should we talk about Psych Ward? The actual ward itself, Ward 12? What's in my memory banks? I don't know. Maybe we can get out of Ward 12 now. I was going to do a review of the whole story. Can't be bothered. Not enough time. Let's put my legs down. Let's try and think. Okay. Let's change the camera angle. Right. Ward 12. I've got 12 minutes. Less than. What do you reckon, Ganesh? What should we do? You ain't saying anything either, because you're a mute. You're a mute, laddie. You're a mute. You've got only got a fucking nostril to speak out of. How can you even talk? This is the thing about Ganesh, is he may well be wise and compassionate and so forth, but there's no fucking mouth. Well, if he has, I can't see it. So you just think, and even if he did, he's an elephant. How's he going to talk? Can he speak English? What are you, elephant or a human anyway? A human elephant. It's only your nose that's elephant. Oh, okay, and your ears, I suppose. It's literally only in your face. Your eyes aren't elephant, because no elephant has eyes like that. Do they? Their eyes are on the side of their heads. So you're not even a real elephant in your face, woman. Your boobies. Your little boobies out there, aren't you? Eh? And what's going on here? Like, what is this? I don't understand this area. Why is that different to that? I don't know what that means. Ears. I think they made a mistake on the piece, honestly. It doesn't make any sense. I can't figure out what it's supposed to be, or if it's a mistake. It feels like someone's just eaten part of his face. There. Because that has got a thick line there, hasn't it? You would have thought that just carries on. No. So what is this? Because that... Oh, God. What is that? A flappy bit of his ear that is just... What is that? I don't know what it is. It's supposed to be something. I don't quite understand what it is and how it's supposed to work. I think it's his ear. I don't know. Anyway, what do you reckon? What should I talk about? He's like, whatever. Do what you like. Should I talk about Ward 12? He's like, do what you like. What about coming out of Ward 12? He's like, yeah, do that. Okay, let's do that then. Just talking to an inanimate object. It's not inanimate. It's a god. Hello. Okay, so let's get my face in the way. We're going to talk about coming out of Ward 12. Coming out of the Ward 12 closet. Okay, right, let's think then. Well, ha ha ha. So I was having leave. So I got out for a little bit at a time. I don't think I was looking particularly good because I was on medication. I was depressed as fuck. Oh God, yeah. And I hung out with some of my friends. Oh yeah. Oh, so some good things that happened in Ward 12 were I would get visitors to come and see me. My parents would come every day. Either my mum or my dad or both, with my brother. Yeah, so someone would come every day from my family. I had my friends Rowan and a few of the other guys come and see me a couple of times. I had my friend Sam and his girlfriend Katie. We were all friends from secondary school. They came to see me. I got back in touch with someone called Kaylee from university who I fancied the pants off of, but just reconnected with her briefly. And she told me to get my creative juices flowing while I was in hospital to try and help me. Because I was like, I'm bored, man. I'm trapped. I don't know what to do here. I feel depressed and stuff. And she said, do some writing, some drawing, whatever. Get your creative juices flowing. So I was like, okay. Oh, man. In a way, I feel kind of shit because there's so many friends that I have lost over the years. And a lot of them I have lost because of what happened there. Because people stopped being able to understand me and stopped being able to relate to me, and it was too scary for them. It was too weird for them, and I don't know, maybe they felt sorry for me, or they just wanted to disconnect from me. They didn't kind of want to engage because I was too strange and not making enough sense for them, and too off the beaten path, or it's just too emotionally difficult for them and stuff, or whatever. So I lost a load of friends. Or even I distanced myself from certain people because they weren't being that great a friend, and I was kind of like, look, I need to know who is there for me, and so I ended up cutting out people from my life who I didn't feel were being supportive enough because I had very high levels of needs during certain periods of life. And if I didn't feel like people were really there for me, then I had to get rid of them because it was hurting me too much to have people who weren't available to actually kind of be supportive or encouraging or whatever. So yeah. So that's a shame. I'm not in contact with anyone who I went to uni with, which is a shame because most people who I know who have been to uni, for the first thing they completed it. Most people, I'm saying, not everyone of course, but most people who I know who have been to uni completed their course of uni. And they made friends and they got normal lives and normal jobs and possibly families and stuff. So partners and families, and it's very kind of middle class and normal. And part of me feels like I missed out on that. I feel like I missed out on having my normal life. But then part of me didn't ever really want that normal life either. So there's a conflict because part of me does want that normal life, but part of me feels like that's too restrictive and uncreative and too boring. And I'd rather do something genuine from myself that might take longer and is harder work, or not necessarily harder work, but deeper work. I'd rather it come from a really deep place inside me, or a place that I feel very genuine about, than just doing a job because I studied in that area, or because it was the thing that was available, because I wanted to have a place and because I needed the money, and because I wanted to have a career and stuff. I think that going to the psychiatric ward really shook my life up a bit, even more than it already was. So I think having that in the background kind of, I'm trying to bring a positive out of it, but I think it kind of made me assess what's important. And I figured after a while, look, it just doesn't matter, because I've been homeless before, for example. I've been in a psychiatric ward, I've been through hell, and I survived. And so it's important to me to do what I want to do, whether or not it makes me money, because I feel like I've been through the worst kind of situations in the Western world anyway. Like, homelessness is a pretty bad situation to be in for someone in the Western world. And psychiatric hospital is also quite a bad situation to be in. So I feel like I've gone through those things. So I feel like I have less fear, in a way, of bad things happening, because I've already been through bad things that I dealt with, or I came through, and I know that somehow that things will work out, or that in the end it doesn't matter that much anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. So do what you want to do instead of worrying about what might happen if you try and it fails and stuff. I also feel a little bit like there's no such thing as failure anymore to me. I don't understand failure. I don't think there is such a thing as failure. They're just things that work and things that don't work. Decisions that happen to be more effective at getting what you want than others. So failure, I just don't really perceive it anymore in the old way. I mean, I was obsessed with myself as being a failure. I felt like I was continuously failing at life. And now I feel like there's not even such a thing as success either. I don't really see success as a thing either. I feel like success is just a feeling of being satisfied with something you've done. That's success. Just feeling happy is success, or feeling like, for example, when I got this and went around talking to people about it on the first day I got it, that's success. It's just successful to have actually finished something and complete it. I don't have to make loads of money. I felt successful. I feel successful for the fact of having it in my hands. It's much easier for me to feel successful, I think, than it used to be. I wouldn't have felt successful just by having a book that I'd made. I would have been like, no, it has to be selling loads and stuff. And yeah, there's still a part of me that says that. It has to be selling and I want to earn money from it, but I'm just grateful for the fact I've done the damn thing. I'm very proud of myself for having done it. And I can't believe I've done it, actually. Part of me is shocked and astonished. I was like, where did this come from? Where did this fucking thing come from? I don't remember writing this. Did I write this? What the fuck, you know? What made me want to do this? Why did I do this? Where did this come from as well? Yeah. There's this part of me that's going, I can't believe I wrote all this, you know, like, and some of it's really good as well, from my own, if I do say so myself. I'm like, where did this come from? How did I didn't know I had this in me. I didn't know I had this ability to write well, write really well sometimes. Yeah. So there you go. There's my self-indulgent feelings about success. Oh, okay. So I came out of the ward eventually. I keep mentioning I need to talk about some of the good things that happened. So I told you I had some friends come in. Playing pool was good. Oh yeah. So we had this poker game. Why do I feel like I can't talk about the poker game? Poker game was one of like the best things that happened in the whole fucking time I was there. It was just one evening, or maybe 2 evenings, but one specific evening where I remember having actual fun in the ward. It was camaraderie. There was me, Mark, this other guy, I forget his name, and maybe one other person as well. This other guy, the like third guy, maybe there was 4, but there was definitely 3 of us. This third guy was in there very briefly, so he'd come in for like, I don't know, a little bit, and went out within a week or so. He wasn't there for very long, maybe 8 days. And he was a cool guy. He was he's probably about my age now. He's probably about 30, between 30 and 35, I think. I was a lot younger then, obviously. So these were men or guys, and I was like a kid in a way. I mean, looking back at it now, if I saw myself, as in like if I went to see myself there, I'd think, oh, poor kid. I'd call him a kid because I'm only 22 in that thing. Yeah, I was 22 when I was in the hospital. So I would look at myself as being, poor kid. He's young and everything's going fucked for him. Yeah, but so there were these other 2 guys, and I think Mark was maybe 28 or something, and this other guy was like 30, between 30 and 35. I don't know, 36 maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, so he'd been going through some stressful time with his girlfriend or whatever, and he'd been put in there for a brief period. But he was a cool guy, man. Like, he spoke to me, and he said that he thought that I was really intelligent, and I said, "Oh, how did you know that?" And he said, "Oh, I could just tell by looking at you or the way you talk or something that you're really intelligent." And I was like, "Wicked." That's possibly the first nice thing that anyone had said to me in about 2 years worth of utter fucking nightmare bullshit. So that was really nice. And that went straight to my head, of course. But yeah, that was nice. And we played poker with chips, I think. Not like, with actual chips. Not made of potatoes. Potato peeling from on high. No, just chips. Poker chips. Yeah. So, oh. Oh man. Yeah, so we played poker. And it was just nice because we were actually having fucking fun, And I was involved. It was part of a group thing. It was a guys thing, And it was fun. And I laughed, and we were bantering and making jokes and stuff. And it was good. It was good fun. Yeah. That was nice. It was a good evening. So one good evening out of, well, there were 70 days there. I keep mentioning, no, 72, wasn't it? 72 days. So one good evening out of 72. But it was still good. It was fun. Okay, so maybe I can't just leave the word straight out like that. There are more things to say. Damn it. Man, and I feel like I've wasted this video as well, talking about other shit about my fucking smoking issues. Oh! Maybe I'll do another video straight away afterwards, I don't know. I feel like eating some food. Okay, bye!